What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Tacomaholic channel. So last weekend I did have a fantastic time at the Atlanta Takeover down in Atlanta, obviously. However, on the drive home I did manage to pick up a lovely little rock chip in my windshield, which hopefully it'll show up on camera right there in the middle of the windshield. Sort of pan around, hopefully you can see it. I don't know, maybe about the size of a pinky nail, so nothing too crazy, but I definitely want to take care of this before it spreads into something bigger, so it does give me a chance to review the glass repair kit I got and tell you guys my thoughts on it. So let's get started. And for this video, I will be using this Rain-X windshield repair kit. There is a link, of course, down in the description below if you are interested in picking one of these up. It says it's easy to use, just takes a few minutes, repairs all types of laminated windshields. You can see from cracks, chips, stars, bullseyes, all that fun stuff. Everything you see right here does come with the kit. You have some applicator pads, it comes with a little razor blade, instructions of course, the suction cup apparatus, and then the resin. Really the only thing you need to add is a dry paper towel, and that's just to clean off the outside of the windshield. So let's get started. Okay, so before you begin, you do need to make sure the whole repair process does take place in the shade. Otherwise, the resin's not going to cure correctly. So after you apply all the resin towards the end, then I'm going to repark the truck and park in the direct sunlight so the UV light activates the resin properly. So first step, just take your paper towel and make sure wherever your damage is completely wiped off from any road grime. It said just do this dry, don't use any Windex or anything. For mine, really the hardest part about this is just reaching it because it's right in the middle of the windshield. I'm sort of a shorter guy anyway, so got my little ladder set up right here and I'm just sort of leaning over because obviously I don't want to sit on my hood, but this would probably be 1,000 times easier if your chip or glass crack was just sort of off to the side. So mine's right in the middle, so that's what I got to deal with. Next up, you do take the supplied razor blade and just sort of go over the crack just to remove any glass fragments. I'm not feeling any resistance at all, so mine's pretty smooth. Then I'll just take the paper towel and wipe that off one last time. And then next, you take the applicator base, which is this thing, and you have to position this, just 4 suction cups, onto the glass, so this center hole right here is directly over where your damage is. And again, for mine, it's just sort of difficult because it's sort of in the middle of the windshield, so I'm sort of leaning over it. So I'm going to position it, eyeball it as best I can here from the side, and then just sort of get over it and just make sure it's centered correctly. You just push down nice and easy, make sure they're nice and tight so it's not going to come loose. Alright, now I got a nice little X-Wing fighter right on my windshield. Next up, you're going to take the resin chamber, which is this piece right here, and it is just threaded, and you are just going to screw that down into the middle. Just goes down clockwise, and you want to do it all the way down until the bottom of it, which is like a rubber O-ring, touches firmly on the glass, nice and tight. And after you get it screwed down, you want to check on the inside of the windshield just to make sure that is covering the center of the gap. So if you're off a little, you go ahead and remove it, readjust your applicator base, and start over. Right, mine feels pretty good. Go on the inside and check it now. And for the next step, you take the razor blade, cut the tip off the resin bottle, and it says to put 3 to 6 drops in the chamber. Make sure you twist off the top part. That just screws off simply. It doesn't really say, you know, how much to use, like per whatever the damage is for your glass, so I guess for mine I'm just going to use 4 right in the middle. So there's 4 drops, and it also said if it leaks out the bottom, just tighten this down a few screws to prevent all that. And then you're going to take the top piece and screw it all the way down. That forces the resin down into the crack. And it says do this until it's just about flush, and then you check on the inside to make sure that the suction cup isn't leaking and that it's all the way flared out. Alright, that's as tight as mine's gonna go. Probably not gonna show up on camera, but that's what it looks like on the inside. No leaks. It looks like the whole area is covered. And at this point, you're just gonna let the resin do its thing. It said 4 to 6 minutes, so just let it sit there, and I'll be back in just a little bit. And at this point I have let the resin sit for 4 to 6 minutes, so the next step, you twist from the bottom, loosening the whole thing. That's going to release any air bubbles from there. Let those air bubbles out and then tighten it back down. Then we're going to go on the inside and look at the damage just to see if we can spot any air bubbles. I know it's not going to show up on camera because it's in the shade and sort of a weird angle, but I don't see anything from the inside of the vehicle, so I think we're good to go. Once you are satisfied that you've gotten all the air bubbles out, just go ahead and twist this again a little bit counterclockwise. Remove all the suction cups and you're going to take the whole apparatus off. Have a paper towel ready just in case so it doesn't drip. I'm going to flip mine over real quick. Again, I know it's not going to show up on camera. It does look a lot better. But now for the next step, you're going to take the applicator strips. So I'm going to drop one drop right in the middle and put an applicator strip on it to hold that in from the outside. And there is one of the curing strips with one drop of the resin on it. So that is pushing more resin in from the outside. You don't have to apply any pressure with this. The surface tension and friction will just pull that down. So I'm going to let this sit now for 4 to 6 more minutes, and that should be just about it. And one of the final steps, you can see I do have the curing strip right there on the middle. You do have to now, with the curing strip on there, do go ahead and park in direct sunlight for 5 to 10 minutes and let that cure up. And now it's been 10 minutes in the direct sunlight with the applicator pad on there holding the resin on the crack from the outside. So now I can try to remove it and hopefully it'll be dry. Yeah, you can see it's completely dry right there. So now I'm not sure if it's going to come up on camera. There's some flakes. I can just take the razor blade, clean that up a little bit. If when you peel this up it's still wet, just go ahead and put it back down and give it another 10 minutes or so because you want all this resin to be completely dry when you scrape it off. Alright everyone, and there it is with all the resin wiped away with a paper towel. Obviously it's not going to just make the crack disappear like it showed on the picture, but I mean it is sealed now so it shouldn't spread, you know, with temperature swings from hot or cold. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Alright everyone, that will do it for this video. Overall I'm pretty pleased with the product. It's super easy to use, it's very cheap. I think the whole kit was like 10 bucks or less. Again, if you are interested in picking this up, I will go ahead and link to that below where you can grab it on Amazon. I'm sure there's 100 other different types of kit, but Rain-X is an established brand that I've used before. Comment below on if you have any kind of window damage and if you plan on picking this up yourself. As usual, if you are not subscribed to the channel and you love everything related to Tacomas, please consider subscribing. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next video.